All right, well, hey there, folks. Meteorologist Matt Barrentine alongside
Meteorologist Jennifer Lambers.
We're watching something that looks pretty good outside right now.
This is a beautiful sight to see, whether you love it or hate it. It was much needed here on the Gulf Coast. And we're talking about rain out there for today. Yeah,
it's great to see. It hasn't been very heavy. It's been kind of interesting to watch the radar. The radar's been all lit up all day like it's pouring outside. Then you walk out there, you just feel little tiny drops. The air is really dry, and it has been, so it's like we have to wait to, get things saturated before we can actually get that rain to come on down. There's the current conditions out there at the airport right now, actually downtown Mobile at Brookley Field. Pretty breezy as well. Yeah, that's starting to pick up. We anticipated that this afternoon.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If you were watching earlier this morning, Michael was talking about it, I was talking about it. We were expecting more of this steady rainfall that we're starting to see now later on in the afternoon. Plus, also, we're expecting those winds to pick up, and that is exactly what we're seeing out there. But a beautiful sight, something that we haven't seen on radar in quite a bit, and it's all those greens, the yellows, even some oranges out there. And just a reminder, we really need the rain here to help knock out that drought that we've been seeing.
Yeah, and nothing severe here, which is good to say. Though it is getting a bit breezier as we're getting later in the day. That we expected. But nothing severe. There's no lightning here. There's no, big thunderstorms, nothing like that. It's a good, steady, soaking rain, which is going to really help out with our dry yards and dry everything else here across the Gulf Coast.
So my concern was the Christmas trees that they have growing around here. They were also battling some of those dry conditions, so much needed here. Looking in just a little bit closer, Mobile and Baldwin counties, you can't really make out much between all of that green. So it truly is just that constant stream of moisture that's beginning to lift up. It was more of that light rain, that drizzle earlier today, but now we're starting to see more pockets of that yellow start to move on. So you'll notice mainly just some differences in the amount of rain that's falling.
And then normally when we have rain going across the area, we track, we want to show you where those storms are going. Really can't track that. No. It's just everywhere at the moment. So there's nothing really to track. We're just going to kind of take you on a tour, I guess, of some of the different areas. We're just in Mobile and Baldwin. Now we're kind of more over towards the Panhandle. And you can see the same sort of thing. You've got heavier rain at the coast, a little bit lighter as you move inland.
Truly a nice sight to see. And it feels like it's been a while since I've talked about us actually seeing rain here. So I'm almost at a loss for words, but it is nice to see our inland spots really beginning to see more of that steady, moderate rainfall so far. Even earlier this morning, right around southern Clark, northern Mobile, Baldwin counties, that's where we were seeing the majority of that rain falling. The rain rate's getting close to about half an inch, over an inch so far, but only expecting some of this to continue. And we had talked about the wind earlier today, and just a reminder that those wind gusts, we are expecting those to ramp up. So we're getting closer towards the 2 and 3 o'clock hour. Now is only the beginning of the winds, but they really start to peak once we get closer towards around 7 to 9 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, so we're getting up there in the low 30s. That's, a good bit breezy out there, and you'll probably notice it if you're going to be outside, but you're just trying to get that dog to go out there and use the bathroom. That's what they do. They take a long time when the weather's like this. And here we are, we're going offshore here of Dauphin Island. You can see the wind gusts there now at 40.
Wow, yeah, so the wind gusts getting up to 40, the waves at 5.5 feet, a much different look than what we saw earlier today. We were talking about that too. We were checking in with Stephen Moody at the beach. Things were calm to start off for this morning, but now the water is beginning to deteriorate out there just offshore. So higher wave heights, more breezy conditions, and that's why we had that gale warning in effect. It started off as a gale watch just yesterday, and it goes in effect until tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and the Dauphin Island buoy is pretty far out there. It's like 63 miles. Let me see. I'm going to pull up the, while you're talking about it, I'm going to pull up the other buoy, the one off Orange Beach is only about 15 miles out, and we can look at the differences here to see what the winds are. So we had 40-mile-per-hour winds at the one here off of Dauphin Island. That was way out, but we go 15 miles here south of Orange Beach. Let me get this one into motion, and we're still looking at nearly 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts there.
That's exactly right, and so we're still expecting that potential to move further inland, as you just saw with those wind gust estimates. That was for Mobile, showing around that 30 to 32-mile-per-hour range, gusts up to 40 possible for today. So I've been making the plea, I've been giving out the warning, if you put out your Halloween decorations, don't lose them. Gotta get to today.
That's a good point.
Yeah, exactly. I saw the inflatables up last night. I'm like, oh, please make sure you deflate those. So just be cautious in case you've placed anything outside.
Yeah, anybody out on the beach right now, the sustained winds are here around 30 miles per hour. that'll give you a nice exfoliation if you're out on the beach as well with all that sand blowing around. So something to keep in mind if you want. I guess, I don't know, with the rainfall, you may not want to go for a walk out there anyway. Here's the big picture, and we'll go ahead and pop that up for you so you can see it on the full screen here. And we can see that big area of low pressure. Now, thankfully, this isn't, you know, if a tropical type of system. This isn't a tropical type of system, so we're looking okay out there as far as that's concerned. It's just rain that's falling out there and some gusty winds. We see those winds out of the east here wrapping around that system here for us as it continues to move off to the north and east here, north and east across our viewing area. So that's what it looks like on the big picture. That's where all the rain is coming from. So we're looking at some pretty good rain, which is awesome to say after so long without those showers. Let me get back into the future cast, and we're looking at the rain here for the next few hours, and it's going to continue. So we're going to continue to see this rain moving across the area. It'll be fairly heavy at times, or at least steady, and it continues right on into about 9 to about midnight, and then it starts to fizzle on out here after that point as we head towards tomorrow morning. Now, tomorrow will be a quieter day, so after all this light rain and ickiness here on your Wednesday, looks like we'll be improving here as we go into tomorrow. So, okay, so that's it for us on the future cast, Jennifer. So, looks good tomorrow. We just got to get through this rain today. I'm going to back this up. We'll go through this one more time. I know this is what people usually want to get a good close look at.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so we're really expecting more of that heavy rain once we get further on into the rest of this afternoon. I mean, this moderate rain that we're seeing so far, that's only going to continue. We'll start to see more and more of that heading into the second half of today. We'll finally turn scattered once we get closer towards 7 p.m. And then by 9 o'clock is when we're mainly expecting more of that isolated look, overcast skies continuing. But also keep in mind, in addition to the rain that we're seeing, in addition to the wind that we're seeing, the temperatures also beginning to fall with this. We're going to be staying pretty mild overnight, or not so much mild, but we're going to be staying steady overnight due to some of that cloud cover. But the temperatures out there right now, we're resting in the lower to mid 60s and really not expecting us to stray much further away from this. Our daytime highs were met earlier today, and so this afternoon, this evening, overnight, we'll be hanging out in the lower 60s.
Yeah, might even need a light jacket out there if you have to get out. Of course, you want a little raincoat on anyway with the drizzle falling. You don't want to get wet and have to walk inside someplace. So that's what it looks like here. Let me go ahead and actually, I'm going to get another camera up here so we can just take another look outside. This is from the eastern shore, and of course, there is the Bayway.
Yeah, so low visibility out there. You can really start to see some of that water being kicked up behind some of these vehicles. As always, if you're heading out anytime soon, make sure your headlights are on, even if they're automatic. Flip them on. That way you're visible to other drivers, because once that water begins to kick up, that visibility drops significantly. So in case you're heading out pretty fast on the Bayway there, now that traffic's moving smoothly, you just want to make sure that you are being cautious. And you can't really see much of the skyline out there at this time. No,
the rain has got us pretty well grayed out here, and rain here for the next, I mean, we need it, so we'll take every drop we can get. Obviously, we've been dealing with a drought. Now, things do change tomorrow. Once again, we'll start out with some clouds around. Temperatures will be in the upper 50s, low 60s in the morning, and then we'll gradually warm as we go through the day, go through the morning there. Should be in the upper 60s as we head towards lunchtime, and we'll top out somewhere tomorrow afternoon in the mid-70s. Mostly cloudy skies, looks like, throughout the day, Jennifer.
So a much different look heading into tomorrow, and then by Friday, too, a much different look. We are on a roller coaster of a forecast, and so in case you're planning on heading down towards the beach, just be cautious. Rip current risks, they are continuing to stay high, even heading into tomorrow and Friday once all of this heavy rain moves through. But the weekend looking a little bit better out there.
Not a surprise here, because we saw the wave heights there from our buoy reports, over 5 feet. The Gulf is like a bathtub. It doesn't take much of a storm to really stir it up. And so we'll keep the high rip current risk next couple of days. Weekend, though, things will begin to improve, but still do check in with your local beach, your flags, or whatever beach you go to, see what they're set at there on Saturday or the weekend, if that's what you plan on doing. and heading on out. Hey, let's go ahead and check out the tropics, Jen.
Yeah, so in case you've been staying tuned with us for this morning, we had a new tropical storm form. Get to that in a moment, but we also have a wave off the coast of Africa. Low chances of development over the next 7 days. But right ahead of it, we now have Tropical Storm Sean. And Sean is turning at around 40 miles per hour at this time, moving west-northwest at 13 miles per hour. But Sean is expected to be short-lived and just stay a problem for the fish. By the time we get closer towards the weekend, it keeps that tropical storm strength and then weakens into a remnant low by the time we make it into next week. So again, not expected to interact with any land masses. It's been a trend so far for 2023. Yeah. A lot of these systems just staying out in the central Atlantic, something that I like to see though. And so that does continue heading deeper into October. And so if we were to get another name system, again, that wave right behind it, that next name would be Tammy. We're getting close to the end of our names. And still quite a bit to go.
Yeah, well, Sean is number 18. And with El Nino this year, we're anticipating at least be average or a little bit below average, but it hasn't worked out like that. We've had a lot of like what you called the fish storms.
Yep.
So thankfully, we haven't had very many damaging storms besides Adalia. Most of these have been fairly, non-problematic. And we do have a few names left, like you said, Tammy, Vince, and Whitney. We'll see if we can get to any more. Things are beginning to wind down the tropics. You see that Sean is going to struggle out there with some of the conditions. It's not as conducive as it was earlier. And here we are with a low in the Gulf right now that's not turning into a tropical system. So conditions are changing when you get to the second half of October. Things do begin to improve as far as that is concerned. Here's that long-range forecast, Jen.
And truly a roller coaster is ahead of us because heading into tomorrow, expecting us to be in the mid-70s. We go up, rain chances return heading into Friday, and then back down into Saturday. We're actually dipping because by the time we make it into the afternoon, a cold front's pushing through on Saturday, and so temperatures will gradually be falling heading into the afternoon. Overnight, we dip down into the 50s, back up slightly on Sunday in the mid-70s, and then we're riding it easy into next week with mornings in the 40s, daytime highs, possibly not even getting out of the 60s for some areas. Plenty of sunshine and staying dry. There's your taste of fall.
Oh, yeah.
There.
And like you said, on Saturday, we'll probably hit that high around lunchtime, and we'll actually see the temperatures come down. So I know it looks pretty warm on Saturday, but don't worry, things are going to improve. And then as like you said, going into next week, it looks like we're going to be, it is going to be well below normal.
Yes.
And that was the long-term trend that we were looking at, and that's what's going to be working out for us as we head into next week. Below normal temperatures. Unfortunately, we take the rain out too, and we've got a drought going. The rain today is great, but it's not enough to break up the drought. It's not enough to completely get rid of it. So it'd be nice to have a few more rain chances on there, but it's hard to argue with 70 degrees and sunny. So
that's exactly right. That's going to be fire pit weather. So again, just be cautious of those drought conditions. Make sure that you're being cautious out there, putting those fires out completely, because we will be staying dry after really Saturday, and even taking a look towards the long range, possibly going to be a full week before we see any of that shower potential come back into play.
Yeah. Nice temperatures, though.
Yes,
It's hard to argue with beautiful October weather, and that's exactly what we're going to have starting Saturday afternoon, then going into Sunday. Things really improve. We just like I said, we see we get every rain we can get out of today. I'm going to put that radar up once more since it's been a while since we've shown the radar. It's a good news radar. It's a lot of rain out there. The funny thing is, we mentioned this a little earlier, is that it looks heavier on here than it actually is. And then one of the issues that we run into when we've been dry for so long, the atmosphere is dry. It's like a sponge, just kind of sucking it up and evaporating a lot of this before it gets to the ground. But as the afternoon and evening goes along, things get more saturated, and we'll get more of this down to the ground. It's a nice soaking rain. I put grass seed out in my backyard the other day, and this is absolutely perfect. It's nice soaking rain. Yep. It's not enough to wash it away. This is perfect. I love to see it, and I won't have to water it for a couple more days after this. So that's the
you'll
good
be
news.
Good. Hopefully some mums out there. I know a lot of folks getting those out ready.
Yep.
They need it as well, and so just keep in mind, picking up the kids after school, heading home from work. It's going to be raining a bit more by that point, so after work plans, sports practices that are outside, not going to be the best conditions for them.
All right, that's it. Meteorologist Matt Barrentine, meteorologist Jennifer Lambers. We're going to let you have your afternoon. We'll be back on 3, 4, and 5 o'clock today. Please join us. Thank you so much.